You're listening to SM Media. Hi, folks, and welcome to this weekend's edition of the Ref's View. I will look at all the big calls over the weekend in the Scottish Premiership, and we've also got a League Cup final to assess. Now, Des, I don't know about Steve, but I think Steve Conroy, if I ever hear again that Steve Conroy's not a smart cookie, I'll be very, very willing to argue because he's picked a very good weekend to go to New York, hasn't
Listen, see if I come back in another life. I'm going back as Steve Conroy's
he?
passport because that thing has been out of the country more than it's been in
He
this year.
picked his
Uh,
moments. Like, this is the weekend where it had the potential to explode. It has exploded, but he's in Manhattan, out the road.
he's in New York. Although saying that, what kind of holidays having? Because he's been on the phone to us most of the
I
day,
know,
and his poor wife Sam's having to deal with him. But
I know.
Steve likes a holiday. He's promised me he won't be having as many next year. But
Yeah.
watch this space.
But obviously, Des Roach, you are carrying the load this weekend. And we've picked a fascinating weekend to do that. Now, we should say, obviously, like in terms of we're recording this on Monday night, so as it stands, hopefully the pod goes out either Monday night or Tuesday morning. We we were going to record this immediately after the final, and we haven't. We've decided to obviously delay it just to get a lot of people's thoughts to kind of feel the mood music across certain areas in terms of certain decisions that were made. There was decisions at every single game we're going to talk about that are fairly interesting, but we obviously have to start at Hampden on Sunday. You were obviously doing live reporting on the Daily Record. I was at the game. Des, first of all, before we get into the big decisions, a tremendous advert for Scottish football, and I've seen a lot of League Cup finals. Obviously, like I'm like before, like the likes of like Aberdeen Rangers, I get told about it's one of the best games. Like Rangers Celtic back in the 80s, 90s. This is probably the best League Cup final I can remember. Like it was just a thrilling game for a
Yeah,
neutral.
I think for a neutral who's looking at it for the first time, or you get, obviously these games get broadcast all over the world. I think it was a great advert for Scottish football. 6 goals, plenty of drama,
Mhm.
plenty of topical decisions, and discussion points. Yeah, it really was. It was a great game of football. I think both teams can come out without credit. And yeah, let's keep them more of the same.
Yeah. Now, with any kind of cup final, with any Rangers Celtic game, it ends up being sometimes about the referee, sometimes about certain decisions that are made in the game. There's three kind of big ones that I want to kind of touch on. There's one that's been kicking about today that be honest, I haven't seen. I don't know where it's coming from, but we can get into it. The big one, obviously, the big kind of moment that everybody's talking about is the penalty incident. Now, I have to be honest, when I seen it, I thought it was a free kick. I thought from where I was sitting opposite side of the ground, from where like, opposite side of the tunnel, so I didn't see. I thought it was just a free kick. It looked a free kick from where I was. Saw a still. Czerny's foot is clearly on the line, therefore in the penalty area. Des, we've obviously been on Twitter. We've seen a lot of people's different views on it. You've obviously spoke about it on the hotline. You've obviously seen a lot of people's opinions. Clarify for us what is the situation here. And there's no doubt in your mind it's a penalty, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so I'm not going to be holier than thou. When I first seen it, like yourself, when I first seen the incident occur, I thought, okay, it's a foul. I'm
Mm-hmm.
quite happy with that. And then probably like the rest of us, within a matter of minutes, we're receiving messages on my phone
Yes,
showing you the still image.
yes.
And when you see the still image, then I'm sorry, the debate's over. It's a penalty kick. John Beaton, I wouldn't think for a minute that John could be
He can't.
held
No, that's
liable for
absolutely fair.
that.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I did hear other people saying that he blew the whistle and it was for a foul before the pull. No, it wasn't. He's gave the foul
The
for
game's
the
the,
pull.
the game stops when he blows the whistle. Like
Exactly.
that's
And it's for the pull. And when you see that still image, if the foot's on
mhm.
the line is part of the area that it marks, so therefore it's part of the penalty area. The only decision can be a penalty. And what the issue there then comes down to is the use of the VAR. Now,
Yes.
That's why VAR is there. VAR is there to clear up decisions regarding goals, penalties, factual information that occurs at that moment in time. And I'm sorry, Alan Muir's a nice guy, but he's got it wrong there. And we always say, we've said it since even before it came in, VAR isn't the issue. The technology is not the issue. The technology works, the computer's there, Hawkeye have got it all calibrated. The technology works. It's always about the people operating it.
Yeah.
We can forgive John Beaton for not getting it? Absolutely, no problem. I can't understand how VAR never picked it up, because if we are seeing that in a picture sent to us within a few seconds, surely the VAR operating office must be
That is
looking at
purely
it.
what I don't get, is because like all to me, yeah, I mean, there's two reasons that I don't think he gives it right. And again, you can shoot me down here if I'm wrong. He either doesn't give it because he doesn't know the rules, he doesn't think the line is in the box, therefore he shouldn't be in that position that he's in.
And he
Okay.
does know the rules.
And he doesn't know the rules, so he shouldn't be in that big a position in that big a game. Or he has decided it's 3-3 in a cup final, and he has decided that game is going to penalties. I am not making that decision at that point in the game for that reason. Now, if he's done that, that is, he shouldn't be in a job, because that is bringing yourself. I'm not saying he's done that, by the way. That is my. It can only be one of two things, or he does not think it's a penalty, thinks it's a free kick. Therefore, he's not got the rules right. Now we have obviously just. I'm just going to stop just a second, because there is news coming out of Ibrox just now that Rangers CEO, the new CEO who started today, Patrick Stewart, has just released a statement that he's had a conversation with the SFA. I will get on it, but
Okay.
in terms of that, kind of my theory of the whole thing, Mike Dean said something interesting during the Manchester derby. I'm sure you've maybe heard that. Mike Dean said the foul on Hoyland in the box isn't a penalty in this type of game, right? That shouldn't be
That's
a thing. That shouldn't be a thing.
no,
Is
no.
that the same here? Is that what Alan Muir's thought process is? Because if that's right, he has made a game-changing decision. Because if that's a penalty and Rangers score, Rangers win that game. So it is a game-changing decision.
Yeah, so
There's,
I'll disagree with you on your 2 points that you have, which quite really everybody's entitled to an opinion, no problem. What I would say is Alan Muir is very aware of the laws of the game.
mm-hmm.
He's operated at the top level in Scottish football for numerous years. He's been in cup finals. He's operated in Europe. He's been there. So he knows that the penalty area line is part of the penalty area. So right, so the knowledge of the laws of the game is not up for debate. I, I would be dumbfounded and astonished if he decided not to get involved and give that because he was looking for the game to go to penalty kicks and didn't want to make that decision. I'm sorry, you're in that position because you're a good referee, you're a
Yeah,
good assistant
exactly.
referee, you're a good VAR. So your job is to give your opinion, and the opinion at that moment in time should have been it's a penalty kick. The only decision, if we're looking at it that, the only decision, in my opinion, solely my opinion, the only decision I can give, or sorry, my only opinion that I can give from that is that he obviously didn't think that it merited um it merited a foul because John's seen it, John's given what he's thought, but for me it's entirely wrong. If you're seeing that and you're seeing the same images that we all are, I would be jumping out my skin saying, John, there's a very high, sorry, not even there's a very, John, that's a penalty kick. I'm telling you it's a penalty kick. It's now up to you if you want to come and have an on-field review at it. Nothing to do about him trying to influence the outcome of the game or him not knowing the laws of the game. It can only be that he didn't see the merit in it and he's allowed John. He doesn't think it's a clear and obvious error by John, because that's when VAR gets involved. VAR gets involved if there's a clear and obvious error being made by the referee. And then I can only assume, to say my assumption, in my opinion, I can only assume that he's felt that John did not make a clear and obvious error there. Whereas the rest of us, we all seen it in one fell swoop on a clip. And don't get me wrong, Alan Muir will be absolutely gutted today. Gutted that this is the situation it's arisen. But unfortunately, we can't take it back. It's happened. And as I said at the time, I'm like you, I thought, foul, that was all it was. but when you see the evidence, you can't ignore it.
Yeah. I just wanted obviously to say what this is coming from the Rangers Review. This is coming from Chris Jack at the Rangers Review. Rangers Review understand that the Ibrox hierarchy, obviously new chief executive officer Patrick Stewart, one of his first order of businesses today was to reach out to Hampden and referees chief Willie Collum over the incident that saw VR official Alan Muir fail to correctly intervene after a free kick was awarded for a foul on Cherny. Now, this is something that Rangers have done and other clubs have done in the past. Now,
Yeah,
my argument has always been you can't if you do have an issue with decisions like that and you feel, well, I mean, Rangers probably feel today that they've been cheated, right? That is it. Clearly, they think that because they've done this.
yeah,
When you have that opinion, though, it can't just go away. You have like this has to be like received. I can imagine Willie Collum in his next what Wally Vision, as you call it, will come out and issue an apology. That's not good enough. That's not apology is not going to make a difference here. Like it's been a game changing decision in a national cup final. It,
So what I would say there is, see this statement that the club have made. That's for the fans.
yeah,
That's
of
purely for the
course, yeah,
fans, for
yeah,
them, because these phone calls take place every Monday morning,
hmm
whether you're Rangers, Celtic, Albion Rovers, Alloa. They will always phone up and have a gripe that, do you realise that Des Roach missed this or Steve Conroy missed that, and show you because it has an impact on their team. I've always said if you have an issue, talk it behind closed doors. If you have got an issue at work and I've got a meeting with someone or you're getting, that's how you do it. You don't need to say, oh, we're calling for the SFA, we're calling for people's heads, we're calling for people's job. That's not how you do it. This is a big boys league now. I think obviously the gentleman that's come in as a new chief executive, this is just going to put his profile right up there.
yeah.
And the first thing he's done is he's fighting Rangers corner, which he's entitled to
Which he
do.
has to do, yeah,
Yeah, which he's entitled to do. I would rather these things take place in private, but that statement is purely for the fans. That's that. It's not, as you said, it's not going to change. They're not going to say, do you know what? Let's take it back. We're going to start again. We're going to give a penalty, and we'll play out the last however many minutes of the game. It's
yeah.
done. It's done and dusted.
Yeah, obviously, and we do obviously have to say as well, Celtic, congratulations to them again, another trophy that they've won, incredible record they've got, particularly under Brendan Rodgers. I don't think he's been beaten at Hampden yet, but the one thing, obviously, there's been a couple other things that's been kind of kicking about. The penalty shootout, there was a couple of times where Kasper Schmeichel was inside the box when a penalty was being taken. Now, I have to be honest, I was sitting kind of near enough dead on when they were walking up. So I saw at times Schmeichel having a word, which I thought was I thought it was pretty good mind games kind of thing.
Of course it is.
But the one thing that was jumping out, and a couple of people did bring it up at the time, was Schmeichel seemed to be inside the box. Which again, I've watched many penalty shootouts. I don't really pay attention to that sort of thing, but it was kicking about, and then we've seen that all today. There was a few messages going about. I obviously deferred to you and Steve about it. What is the kind of situation there, and would that have meant a penalty being retaken if that had been happening constantly?
Yeah, it should have been. The law of the game states that when it's a penalty shootout, the goalkeeper should be positioned outside the penalty area on the goal line. Really, what it's to do is it's to take him out the vision of the opposition goalkeeper. Was he in the vision of Jack Butland? No, but that's still not. That's still not. It should have been. To be fair to you, I was like you. I was probably too busy watching the game that I wasn't
Yeah,
paying that
it
much
didn't come to
attention
my
to
mind
it.
at all until people were bringing it up. Yeah,
Yeah. So if you want to go down that route, then yeah, technically the play should be stopped. Get him back to his position where he should have been. Now, see if it was done right. Again, Alan Muir or certainly Frankie Connor, who was the assistant video referee, he should be on the comms and saying to John and who was the far side, Jonathan Bell was the far side, saying Casper Schmeichel is walking inside the penalty area, just get him back.
hmm
Nobody would have known. And that's you managing it within the game.
yeah,
Did it have any detrimental impact on the game? No.
no,
And again, just like we said earlier, these are just things that people are trying to clutch onto to give justification for a Celtic victory. Bylaws of the game, yes, okay, fair enough. Is it the worst crime in the world? No, really. Is anybody bothered? not really. But if you're going down that route, and which Rangers fans will jump onto, I think it could have been managed a wee bit easier and a bit more a bit discreet. If we pulled the penalty back and made it retake, and well, it'd be perfectly within your rights.
Right, okay.
But it's just drawn attention to it, isn't it?
Yeah, and obviously there was another one as well. Celtic's third goal was scored by Nicholas Kuhn. There has been stuff going about. Apparently, there was a clip by Kuhn on Diamandi, which obviously Diamandi goes down. At the time, again, Des, I'm probably going to say this all night about this game. At the time, I just thought Kuhn timed his run perfectly. I thought Diamandi tripped. I don't think it's like a clear and obvious thing, but you might
No,
disagree.
no, nothing in it. Nothing in it. That's just one of these things that happen in football, isn't it?
Yeah,
You can't
and
you can't you can't expect guys that are physical specimens and they're physically fit and it's a contact sport. These things happen, but it was nothing in it.
yeah. There's stuff going about as well. Apparently, Jack Butland was close to handling the ball outside the box. I have, to be honest, we spoke about it off air. I haven't seen it. I have seen it. I've watched the game back. Haven't seen it. My mind changed in terms of Beaton's performance when I watched the game back because you had said I'd read obviously what you'd said and you said he had a good game. I thought at the time he showed 11 cards. I thought is he maybe bringing cards out too quickly. The one with Dessers was the one at the time where I was in the ground. I saw it and I thought he's literally straight on and he's booked him. But I've watched it back and I've slowed everything down for this. All bookings, I think, are bookings. I
Yeah.
don't think there's anything that I'm looking at going, that's not a booking. It was the Dessers one at the time. I know he literally come on and got himself booked straight away. I was like, right, okay, that's maybe a bit too quick, but it is a booking, it is a bookable
Yeah,
challenge. Like
yeah.
it's I
You
thought
look
Beaton
at
had a
it.
good game. Like
So so did I, and we'd said the week before, and again, I'm not too proud of to say I said I didn't think he was the choice that I would have made. But I thought John had a great game. I mean, his first caution was 23 minutes on Balogun for
yeah.
the shot pull upon Hatate. When you look at it, you think an old firm game, a cup final, 11 cautions, 8 to Rangers, 3 to Celtic. You think that sounds a bit tasty.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't. It was
Wasn't.
never out of control. I mean, Dessers, he came on and he got his first booking, or his booking, in 102 minutes. I mean, he kicked Carter Vickers before he kicked the ball.
Yeah, it is a
He's not
booking.
he's not
Yeah.
he's not touched it. But no, it's a very very easy to criticise folk, and but I thought John did a really good game. It's just a shame that this tarnished incident is going to overshadow it.
Yeah, I mean, Philip Clement had said immediately after the game that his phone was inundated, probably like ours was as well. With it was
Yeah,
probably the same still that I think everybody got, and it was obviously Bobby Madden. That it was for the first time I saw it was a Bobby Madden Instagram post that I think I sent you,
yeah,
and I don't know if that was the first time you had seen it, but I'd certainly I'd got that while the game was going on. And the one thing I like it is obviously the time of the game. It goes to penalties. Celtic win in penalties again. Obviously Schmeichel makes a save in Yilmaz. But it is purely that, like, there has been a lot of talk about, like, Rangers, or like Chris Boyd was talking today, or Rangers should be at the SFA door on Monday with a big dossier and things like that. I think again, like, this is something that I've been very consistent since I started doing these sort of things, that I don't think there is this big bad thing going on in Scottish football. I just think that at times certain supporters gravitate to that.
yeah, yeah,
But
absolutely.
that's kind of like probably like always going to be the case. I don't think it's been there as long as I can remember it. I don't think it's ever going to go away. But like you can scrutinise referees without saying they're biased and things like that. You can scrutinise performances.
And that's allowed. That's
Yeah.
listen, where every referee, every player is up for scrutiny by
Hmm.
fans, whether it's for your team or an opposition. We all have opinions, right? That's just that. We all have opinions. I will categorically state right now, and I've said it numerous times, there is not one referee in Scotland that I've ever been involved with, that I've ever worked with, that I know as friends, I know as colleagues, who have ever went into a game with a bias in their
No.
head. Not a chance. Not a
Mhm.
chance. And if you have got a bias, and again, I've said this numerous times, if you've got a bias, you can walk into that game and say, I'm a Rangers fan or I'm a Celtic fan, and I'm going to make sure that I get player X, or I'm going to make sure that they don't win. then you're a better referee than me, because how you can orchestrate that
That's
then
what I've said. Yeah.
is it's just silly. So for all these 90-minute people, keyboard warriors, etc., guys, there is no conspiracy, none. Please just understand, they're not all Celtic fans, they're not all Rangers fans. They are football fans who just
Mhm.
happen to be referees, and that's why we're involved.
We'll obviously switch gears from the cup final. We'll talk about the other game on Sunday, which was looked to be very much decided by a refereeing decision, obviously, and I don't think we could have any arguments about this. I saw that somebody showed me this in the ground, and immediately I was like, "Do you know that way when you see a tackle, you kind of like wince?"
Yeah,
Like that's the first thing. Robbie Dees, Kilmarnock's seventh red card of the season. Robbie Dees was sent off, dangerous tackle in Kenneth Vargas. It was a shocker. Like there's no
yeah.
complaints.
So
But
my colleague, my workmate, my friend, John Hillcoat, the ex-goalkeeper, he
yes,
does John does the Opta stats, and he was
yes,
working at the game. So he phoned me last night. We were having a chat, and he asked me if I'd seen it, and I said no. I was also busy doing other things.
yeah,
So I had a look at it. Had a look at it tonight. 6 minutes, seventh red card. He's lucky. Was it Vargas that he hit? I
yes,
think it was Vargas. Vargas is lucky he's not walked away with a broken ankle. And
yeah.
you could see the disgust in Dell's face as he's walking off, as Deez is coming up. You're
You can
thinking,
actually see studs go into his ankle. Like you can see it.
yeah,
Like it's one of those horrible ones. But Don Robertson shows a yellow and it's obviously overturned.
thankfully.
Like,
I can only assume Don was maybe. I mean, I looked at the position. Don was very close to it. I
mhm.
don't know if it's happened too quick and he's been too close. I can't second guess what Don done. But VAR, that's the ideal use of VAR.
Yes,
Perfect
oh,
use of VAR.
absolutely, yeah.
Get him across, because could you imagine if that player unfortunately had broken his ankle and you're leaving the player who committed the foul on the field of play?
Mhm.
Absolutely ridiculous. But I think Kilmarnock need to have need to look at their disciplinary record, because you can't keep seventh red card and we're not even at Christmas.
Yeah, I know it's and again, like obviously, like you'd mentioned something interesting about Derek McInnes's look when Dees was walking off, and I think that kind of summed up his season. But you look at Kilmarnock too. I mean, with 10 men, the way they recovered to win that game, I think it's like a massive, massive statement win. Like it's huge for them
Huge.
the way they got
Yeah,
that.
brilliant one. Brilliant. And I was really shocked at Hearts. I thought Hearts
Yes,
were
yes.
really, really poor. And from other people I knew who were at the game as well, but they were very surprised.
And you obviously like as well. Like, you obviously thought at the time, like obviously, like Kilmarnock scored from a penalty. Again, one of those absolute stonewaller into it. To be honest, like there's no.
Penrite's never even come. But I mean, you were putting. I mean, who was the boy? Was it Timmy Wright? Was the winger?
Yeah.
Penrice has put his foot 6 foot up in the air. See if
Yes.
that foul had occurred in the penalty circle. Oh, sorry, the centre circle. Everybody would be expecting a foul. That's all it is. It's a foul. It's
Yeah.
not a red card. It's just a reckless and dangerous play. Yellow card, penalty kick. So that was he done that. Don got that one absolutely correct.
Yeah, and again, like a perfect example of how VAR is used. Like just again shows a yellow. I mean, VAR overturns it, then a penalty's given. Absolutely fine. Like one of those games where the referees got it right. Into Saturday now, quite a busy Saturday. Like we'll start at the Saints derby where there was quite a lot of stuff happening here. Obviously, there was an incident with obviously in the terms of the game. There was a retaken penalty. There was a coming together between Kimboka and I can't remember the St player, and it's obviously given as a penalty. What's your kind of like notes of this game? Because like this is the one game where I just was like, I'm just going to let Des go here because there's so much happens in it. I'm just going to leave it to you to explain what happened and what you thought.
Cheers, mate. Fantastic 3 points
Yeah.
for St Mum. Really, really big 3 points. They just keep going along. The penalty claim was correct. Jason
Hmm.
Holt he turns his back halfway on it, puts his arm out, the ball strikes him. Absolutely 100% correct. Penalty kick. O'Hara, the first one that he's taken, the goalkeeper says he's clearly off the line, and it was a brave call by the assistant referee. I'm not sure it was the assistant referee or VAR who gave it, but whichever of the officials did, then it's not even just a brave call. It's the correct call, and that's what they're there for. They should they've got to take that. They've got to take that ownership. Then obviously, St Mirren scored a goal, which brings the 3 points back to Paisley. Earlier on, Olisanya and Sanders getting involved,
Standards, yeah.
A bit of tugging and pulling. I heard someone say they thought it might have been a red card for being violent. It wasn't. It was just two guys just being aggressive with each other.
Yeah.
So I was okay. I was okay with that one. I'd actually say Sanders was probably the bigger aggressor than Olisanya. Some people say I would say that. But so no, I think the game went pretty straightforward. Say the major claims, two yellow cards, Sanders and Lasagna, penalty kick you can't get away from. Goalkeeper, is he off his line, making save? Yes, and then has to be retaken. So yeah, good performance all round.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think as well, like that is again like we're seeing that a lot now. Like I remember was it maybe like Pepe Reina a few years ago. This was before VAR where he came off his line for a big call and it wasn't given. And I remember it from a massive. I think it was a Champions League game or something. I can't remember, but this is again like one of those things that's getting caught. I remember being a game Rangers Napoli a couple of years ago where it was shown as well where I think McGregor came off his line or something like that, and this is a thing that's all probably happened in most penalties we've watched in the past 20 years. That now because VAR's there, it's stamping out. Like you can't do
Yeah,
it.
and
You
I think
can't come off your line.
no, I think it all came about. It was AC Milan European Cup final, Champions League final at Manchester United. They played at Old Trafford, and it was the Brazilian goalkeeper
Dida.
Dida,
Yeah,
and he was at the 6 yard box every time a penalty got taken. So this is when this came in, and now with VAR and the assistants also being highlighted to this, why the goalkeepers take it. I thought Butland actually yesterday for one of them, he stood behind.
yeah. I seen that. That was
He's
the. I think it was the Engels one.
Was it? So he
I think
stood
so.
behind it, and you think, well, if you need forward momentum, which obviously goalkeepers do, that's a
Yeah,
perfect point. Just take yourself a yard behind and give yourself that opportunity to come forward.
yeah.
But you're still within the
We'll move into the Hibs Ross County game. This is a game that very much had nothing in it until 69 minutes. George Hammond, the county defender, hold Dwight Gale to the ground inside the box. Penalty was awarded. Lloyd Wilson gave a penalty after a VAR check. It was saved by Jack Hamilton from Cadden. VAR again, you've done well and got it right.
yeah, absolutely. No, I didn't see anything wrong. They were, I mean, Hammond, what's he doing? He's got his arms round him, he's cuddling
Yes.
him, he's holding him. It was unnecessary, absolutely. And as we say, with the spotlight and cameras on you, you're not going to get away with that anymore. Absolutely not. So no issues with that at all. Two penalties conceded by Ross County, just stupid. Just
Yeah, just
really,
another.
really.
The same one, obviously, a shot pull on
Yep.
Campbell. Again, another one that you just can't argue. There was one in this game that obviously wasn't a penalty, but it was in the build up to the third goal. There was a lengthy VAR check that Ellie Yuan had committed a foul. Now, VAR didn't find anything kind of with that.
Nah,
It looked fine to me.
it was fine. Yeah, see if you really want to find something, then you will. But nah, there was nothing in that. I think I'd been. Why would you? Why would you chop off a goal? VAR's not there to chop off goals,
Yeah.
and that's taken away from the fan enjoyment. So no, fine with that. Absolutely fine.
Into the Motherwell Ford and the United 3, you certainly get your money's worth at Fir Park. A lot of drama in this game. VAR check was obviously given for this. Gordon on Moult. It's hard. I keep thinking Louis Moult plays with Motherwell, but I keep saying like Motherwell's Louis Moult. He's no, he plays with the United.
Not
But
anymore.
there was a length, obviously VAR review. Moult was caught in the box, and VAR gave it.
Yep.
Again, scored. Any doubts with that?
No. Greg Aiken was the fourth official.
Yeah.
Liam Gordon's tried to kick the ball. He's connected with the player first. If you do that inside the penalty area, it's a foul. It's a penalty kick. So no issues with that whatsoever. It was a correct call.
And there was one later on. Obviously, VAR didn't get involved. This wasn't given. It was Stevenson on Seddon. A lot of people had said it was in the edge of the box. What was your thoughts on that? Do you remember that one?
I can't remember that one.
I think that
Is
was
that the
one of
one
the.
the one at the end?
Yeah.
Is that the one McFadden and McCann were
Yes.
discussing?
Yes.
I disagree. They said it wasn't.
They
Is that
said it
correct?
wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I disagree. I thought it was. I was okay. I was okay with that. I thought it was a penalty. Um, Obviously the guys out their opinion, which we're all entitled to. But no, the notes I've got is saying I disagree with McFadden McCann. And then you've also got the handball on the t-shirt line,
Yes, that
um,
was another one. Yeah.
which was correct. So no, I thought Nick Walsh and Greg had a combined good game between the two of them.
Yeah, no, as I say, like, obviously, like this show's been dominated by the final, but again, it shows a lot of incidents. But I don't think we've like had one apart from the penalty in the final where we've been like, no, that was properly wrong. So probably been a good weekend for VAR, apart from that, apart from one decision.
And that's the one decision that everybody will always talk about and everybody will
Exactly.
always remember,
Yeah. But
unfortunately.
overall, like mostly fine. Like, I have no complaints with anything.
No,
But I don't think we're going to be done with this. I think it will probably linger on, especially now it's beginning to get like you could see like in regards to that. Obviously, now I can imagine like back in the day, a few you would have had a few things like, oh, a manager's not happy with the decision. Statements are being made and things like that. How do you handle that if you're a referee? Like, you mentioned something interesting about Alan Muir. Alan Muir will probably feel very, very unhappy with himself.
yeah.
That's the issue here. Like, yes, obviously his performance has been scrutinised. You can disagree with the position that the VR is taking, but we have to remember as well, like they're human beings the same as us, and
Listen,
that's something I always say.
see, as long as humans are involved, there's
Yes.
going to be a chance of error.
Hmm.
Okay. As I said earlier, it's a genuine, honest error. Nobody needs to tell Alan Muir that there was an issue there. Nobody needs to tell him. I've driven home numerous times, flung the bag into the cupboard, opened the back door, went for a walk, grabbed the dog numerous times. Come on, we're going. You know yourself. So when Alan Muir gets that phone call or has that debrief, he knows exactly what's there.
Am I right in
And
saying he's a full time VAR? Like, is that something that was? Is that right?
yes, yes. So he was refereeing in the Premier League up until last summer,
Yeah.
and then he came off refereeing. And while he's not a full-time referee as an employment, his sole role within refereeing is as a specialist VAR operator. So he'll be working in the Premier League. Most weeks he will be getting European games, etc. That's his trusted role. That's why he was given that game. So he's seen as a safe pair of hands, which he is. And 99 times out of 100, he gets things correct. Yesterday, unfortunately, was just one of those occasions where he didn't get it right for whatever reason. I
Hmm.
can't. I'm not inside his head, but given what's going on, yeah, it'll be a difficult couple of days for him.
Yeah, but obviously, like it's been one of those weekends where it's in the can. We move on. We've got some busy things to look forward to between now and obviously the new year. We'll be back next Sunday where we'll look at the six games. We'll obviously get a lot of like, again Friday game and Friday night, three games on Saturday, two games on Sunday. But we'll be back, Des, and hopefully not as dramatic a weekend as this one.
Yeah, hopefully not. Well, if Steve's coming back, it's probably going to be just a
Steve will be
boring
back.
weekend then.
Yeah, I'm
In
waiting.
fact,
I'm hoping there's going to be some MLS incidents, but I know the MLS is finished. Like it was.
listen, if you see anything in MLS in New Zealand, anywhere, send it to us
Well,
and we'll have a.
one thing as well. Obviously, I did get this sent from a couple of mates. Obviously, people will know I'm from Ayrshire, and there was an incident in the Ayr Falkirk game. I actually might bring this up.
Oh, right, yeah, yeah.
What did you think of that? Because I've seen a lot of people very, very divided on this, and I was keen to see what you thought about it.
I don't think it's a red card.
It's not.
Uh, It's not a red card. To be fair, the angle that you're seeing it on, it's not definitive who actually punched the ball.
Yeah.
I know they're saying it was the Falkirk player, but see if you're safe there, the Ayr United players potentially gave him a nudge first.
Hmm.
And if it was me refereeing it, I would have been giving the foul to the Falkirk player for a nudge on his back. What I would say on it is it wasn't the referee who gave that. He could never have gave that. David Dickinson couldn't have given that. I believe AR1 was Graham Stewart, and
Right, okay.
it could only have come from there because he's the only person in the stadium, or any of the only one of the three officials who had a view on it.
Yeah.
Because it's in front of David, can't see the ball. The AR2 is not compliant in it either, so it could only have come
It
from
was Graham
can only,
Stewart. Yeah.
it can only have come from AR1. why would the Falkirk player punch the ball in that position?
I know that's
Why
what.
would he?
Yeah,
Why would he do it? Also, the pressure that he's under from the United player. I think there was enough contact from the Ayr player to say it was a push. Now, I know you're Fairship, but what do you think?
I thought it was. I thought it was one of those like you'd say if it's a handball, it's because the A United player has barged into him, causing it. It's
Aye,
not a deliberate handball. And the other thing I was going to say as well, like in that situation when and it's you can say he's maybe handled the ball right. I'm not disagreeing with that. But is it one of those where it's a deliberate handball and it's denying a goal scoring opportunity? Because if you look at another angle of it, it looks like the other one of the other air attack the Falkirk defenders is going to get if he gets through. So what's it for?
he's
Like
still
what?
got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
He's still got a
like
lot of work to do. And I think, if I'm correct, the ball was sort of heading towards where the assistant referee was, so it was
yeah.
going at an angle away from the goal,
It
not
didn't
from.
look like it was an obvious goal scoring opportunity, but you're like, right,
No,
if he gets through there, it's a goal. I didn't think that.
no, no. And if I tell you what, if I was the referee getting that flag and that instruction to send somebody off, I think I might have had a wee moment of dull hearing.
Yeah, I mean,
I
it
wouldn't
was
be, I wouldn't be
that's
looking for that.
yeah, and obviously again, Ayr capitalise on it. It's a big result for Ayr, and it kind of I wouldn't say it opens the championship up a bit, but it certainly makes it a bit more interesting. Livingston can obviously, if they win their game in hand, they go 2 points behind Falkirk. So I do think it's a two horse race. I don't think Ayr have got the squad to challenge Falkirk and Livingston, but I mean, we were looking at 3, 4 weeks ago. It looked as if Falkirk were going to run away with it. It might not be the case now. Like Livingston are beginning to have a bit of form, and could be one of those big results. We look back at the end of the season, like that could have that could have halted momentum a certain way.
Yeah, yeah. In Falkirk, John McGlynn's had them flying,
Yeah,
playing really, really good football, getting good results. Livingston are now coming back into it.
yeah,
They're an ex-Premier League team. They've got David Martindale, who's a wily old fox. So yeah, I think it's a two-horse race between the two. I've got no preference between Falkirk or Livingston because Falkirk are a big club who've been out of the league for a long, long
yeah,
time. Livingston have always got a long pedigree within the Premier League. So you never know. Potentially could end up with both of them there, depending on who gets relegated and
yeah,
who wins a playoff.
yeah.
So all four keep things fresh in Scottish football. But yeah, big result and a massive decision that did have an impact on the game.
Yeah, absolutely. But as I say, we obviously urge anybody if you've got decisions that you want us to have a look at. Obviously, Des and Steve will be there to look into it, give you an opinion.
Well,
We'll
I'll be
obviously
here.
we'll be there. Yeah, you'll be there. But we will obviously be back next week. Des, I can't thank you enough as always, mate. It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, right, Scott, good to see you. Always enjoyable.
And we will see you all next week, folks. For more views on refereeing decisions, we follow the ref's view on Twitter at X, sorry. And obviously, if anything comes up, do give us a shout. Thank you very much.